So you want to build wealth in America? Forget the lottery tickets. Forget the risky stock picks. Today, we're going to break down the practical, proven path to financial independence. And you know what? It's probably a lot more accessible than you think. Let's get into it.
We're all constantly sold this myth, right? This idea of getting rich quick, that one lucky stock pick or that viral startup idea. But the reality for almost every financially successful person out there is, well, it's totally different. It's not a sprint fueled by a lucky break. It's a marathon, and it's powered by discipline. And that's the journey we're going to map out right now.
So here's our course map for this whole thing. First, we'll talk about the big picture, the mindset. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, controlling your cash flow, getting rid of that awful debt, then really starting to build momentum with investing, and finally how to protect everything you've worked for.
Look, real lasting wealth just isn't built in a day. It's not. It's built by doing the simple, fundamental things right, over and over again for a long time. It's all about patience and sticking to the process.
All right, let's dive into the first, and honestly, the most critical step of the marathon, mastering your pace. And you do that by taking absolute control of your cash flow. I mean it. This is the foundation for everything, and I mean everything else.
And let's be super clear about this. This isn't just a nice little tip. You absolutely cannot out-earn a spending problem. It's impossible. Building wealth is a non-starter until you become the boss of every single dollar that comes in and goes out.
Now check out this number, 93%. What in the world could that represent? Well, it's a deceptively simple habit that it turns out is a huge separator between the people who become wealthy and those who don't.
Yep, that's it. 93% of millionaires stick to a budget. And listen, a budget isn't a punishment. It's not a financial straitjacket. It is a plan. It's you telling your money exactly what you want it to do instead of getting to the end of the month and wondering where it all went.
So how do you actually do it? You can start with what's called a zero-based budget. It just means every single dollar gets a job, paying bills, going to savings, whatever. And at the same time, you're always looking for ways to increase your income while fighting back against lifestyle inflation. You know what I'm talking about? That urge to spend more just because you're making more.
This quote just nails the mindset shift you have to make. When you get a raise, the first thought shouldn't be, great, I can get a new car. It should be, great, I can boost my savings and investment rate, because that's what drives real, long-term growth. Okay, so once you've got your cash flow under control, it's time for the next big stage of the race. It's time to shed the dead weight that's slowing you down, and we are talking about that high-interest, soul-crushing consumer debt.
I want you to think of high-interest debt as a wealth destruction engine. Seriously, while you're over here trying to run your marathon and move forward, this engine is in reverse, actively pulling you backward. It's draining your money with interest that compounds against you. It's the biggest enemy you have on this journey.
And that's exactly why you have to make attacking that debt your #1 priority. Every single dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that can't be invested in working for you. When you finally get rid of it, you're not just getting back to zero. You're freeing up an enormous amount of cash that can finally start building your future.
And this, my friends, is where the marathon starts to get really, really exciting. Your cash flow is dialed in, that toxic debt is gone, now you can finally hit your stride and harness the single most powerful force in all of finance, compounding growth. And the process? It's way simpler than you'd think. First, you adopt the pay-yourself-first mindset. This just means your savings and investment goals get their money before you even think about paying for anything else. Second, you automate it. The money just moves to your investment accounts without you even touching it. And third, you just let time and the magic of compounding do all the heavy lifting for you. And it turns out, the #1 way people become millionaires in America isn't by finding the next Amazon or Tesla. Nope. It's about boring, consistent, automatic contributions to things like a 401k or an IRA, month after month, year after year. That's the secret sauce.
This visual says it all, doesn't it? The incredible difference in wealth between starting at 25 versus just 10 years later at 35. It isn't because the first person invested a ton more money. It's because they had an extra decade for their money to compound. Time is, without a doubt, your greatest asset.
And the tools you need for this are super accessible. We're talking about things like 401ks, and please, always contribute enough to get the full employer match. It's literally free money. And then investing in simple low-cost index funds or ETFs.
Down the road, you can add in other things, like real estate, to diversify even more.
All right, you're in the final leg of the marathon now. You've built up all this great momentum. The focus starts to shift a little bit from pure offense to defense. It's time to guard your lead and protect the amazing financial future you've been working so hard to create. Your first line of defense, your financial firewall, comes down to this simple number: 3 to 6 months.
That's 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses, and you keep it somewhere safe and easy to access, like a high-yield savings account. Now, this money is not an investment, it's insurance. So when life throws you a curveball, a job loss, a big medical bill, this fund is what lets you handle it without derailing your entire marathon and going right back into debt.
Beyond that, your long-term protection plan is about having the right insurance to protect you from a catastrophic loss, and then eventually creating an estate plan with wills and trusts to make sure all the wealth you've built is protected and passed on exactly how you want it to be.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The path is pretty clear, you know? It demands discipline, it requires patience, and it's all about having a long-term perspective. It really, truly is a marathon, not a sprint. So, by following these steps, controlling your cash flow, smashing your debt, investing consistently, and protecting what you've built, financial independence is not some pipe dream. It's an absolutely achievable goal. The only question left is the one right here on the screen. Your marathon starts today. What's your first step going to be?